Hey guys, how's it going? Brian Cusco here at Triple B. Today's guest is Mr. Mark Mandic, who you may know for his ball python company Markus Jayne ball pythons. We were at the Canadian Reptile Show back in September. We had a chance to sit down with Mark and have a little conversation. There's going to be 3 parts to this video. The first part is going to be kind of how Mark got into ball pythons in the first place. Then we're going to delve a little bit into his personal life and talk about his world travels. And then we're going to bring it back to ball pythons, and Mark is going to shed some of his experience and light on what he thinks is a good approach for anybody getting into ball pythons today. So I hope you enjoy it. You're watching Triple B TV. So I guarantee I know who you were before you knew who I was. I will go ahead and guarantee that.
Yes.
And the first video I saw with you in it was the first video, I guess I learned later, was the first video that Dave put up on YouTube ever.
Yes.
When him and Kevin,
yes,
Python Hunters, came to your place.
Yes.
And did that interview, and they checked out your facility. Now you had the rodent room, like air helping out the python room.
Yeah.
And the way you kept records and everything was.
Yeah.
You were also the first person I saw that was like a big person in the industry, and because it was when I first started watching those videos, when I first moved back from Hawaii, I started getting back into the reptile keeping hobby and finding all this stuff on the internet. That's when I realized it was an international thing. It wasn't just people in the States doing it. When they came up to you, and you were in Canada, so you were my first exposure to Canadian hobby breeder, not just hobby breeder, but just a breeder in Canada.
Yeah.
And then I looked at a lot of your stuff online. I was like super interested in the Super Blade clown stuff you had going on at the time. And I remember I contacted you at one point, and then it was like then realizing what the cost was just to get it across the border.
Yeah,
just for one snake.
It's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, I get a lot of inquiries from the United States, but it's.
Yeah, I was one of them.
Yeah, by the time you add all the inspection fees and everything, I always try to recommend good breeders in the U.S. to people, you know. And there's, as you know, many. Yeah. Many.
So how long? I mean, you're the guy up here in Canada. When it comes to ball python breeding, like you're the guy here. I'm assuming.
Well.
Well, were you the first to?
No, I definitely wasn't the first. There were others, you know, before me. I guess what I tried to do is look at a different marketing approach. You'll notice that most of the booths that you see at the show, it's all black backgrounds, and you know, it's black t-shirts and black, and which is fine. I love the color black, but I wanted to create a different type of marketing and awareness to people that were never exposed to these, so that they can gain an appreciation for it. So, you know, I took the Apple is kind of my hero company, and Steve Jobs, and I looked what he did, and the simplicity of it went with, you know, whites and oranges. I love orange anyways. Orange is my favorite color. So I wanted to go in that direction.
Which shows in your projects as well, your breeding projects, the amount of orange you work with the animals, with the orange dream and whatnot.
Yeah, and really the first orange snake I was exposed to was the caramel albino. And that was back in, you know, the early 2000s, I think 2001, maybe 2000. I think I saw one in person in 2002. And I was absolutely mesmerized by it. And the orange from my logo is actually eye dropped from a caramel that I purchased.
Oh, crazy.
And because I used to have a different logo, color, and then I went to the new color. Yeah.
You do a lot. Is this your main thing?
Oh yeah.
It is.
This is. I've been doing this. I started in year 2000. Officially winter of 1999, but I always say I started in 2000 because I went to my first reptile show in the year 2000, and it was just a little show. It was actually a show run by Grant, and I was so excited about ball pythons because we had managed to buy, I think, 4 normals, and they were incredible. You know, we loved them, and I saw huge potential because you know, Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, and all that was out, and I saw kids focusing on that as opposed to, you know, wanting a dog or a cat or whatever. And I thought, wow, you know, this is interesting. I'm completely enamored by these. So I went to this show, and I walked in, and I was all gung-ho, and I walked up to the first booth and said, "Have you got ball pythons?" And they went, "Hell no, it's over." And the ball pythons are done.
This is in '99.
It's 2000, January of 2000. And I went, "Really?" And they said, "Yeah, you've missed a train on that one. The bubble has burst." So then I found another booth, and I said, "You got any ball pythons?" They said, "Dude, you're wasting your time." And right then and there I thought, yeah, with that kind of attitude, I'm going to do really well, because if that's the way they're thinking, I'm going to think the opposite. And, you know, it's all about looking into the future and seeing what could happen. And I mean, back then we only had a few genes to work with. When you look at it now, compared to then, and what we have to work with to create our canvases, it's incomparable. It's just incomparable. But that's the beauty of this business, is it's always, always, always evolving. And which was my catch line in the very beginning, always evolving.
Now we know where you got it from. That's where it's from.
You know what? Flattery. Yeah. Just kidding, Miguel. But yeah, it was right on my logo, always evolving.
So it's been almost 20 years now.
Yeah, it'll be my 20-year anniversary next year. So I'm hoping to do a whole new booth design and everything like that. I'll stick with the same logo. It's very effective and very identifiable now. But I'm going to do something a little more dramatic.
And you do a lot of traveling. Like you go outside the country and.
Yes, not because of the snake industry, because my wife is a travel agent and she puts together some amazing trips. We've been to Peru twice and did the trek to Machu Picchu. We've been, we've ridden camels through the Sahara Desert. We've been, to Cambodia twice, Vietnam, Thailand, all over Europe, Italy. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you shatter, but I'm gonna say you do a lot of good stuff when you go out there too. Like especially sometimes we're going to the maybe more closer to third world countries. You help out the kids. You bring things for.
Yeah, we try to, where we can. We started by, I think it was Honduras we went to, and we had been exposed, to some of these islands like Cuba and the Dominican, whatever, and you see some kids that don't have that much. And then we were going to Honduras, and we thought, what can we do for the kids? So we bought extra luggage space, and we filled it with school supplies. And then we went and bought a bunch of soccer balls, and we deflated them and bought a little pump, so that when we got there, we could expand the soccer ball. And so we'd hire, a taxi for the day, and he would take us to all the orphanages, and we get to see the kids and give them their, something they're not even expecting. And I don't know, it's just magical.
Yeah, well, it's a great thing. You guys are into like huge. I already thought these guys are awesome, these guys are cool, and then when I found that out, it just gave me a whole new level of respect for you guys. I'm just beyond this stuff,
Well, I had mentioned we'd been to Cambodia, and we'd hired a guide for 3 days to take us around, and we said, okay, where can you take us where there's some kids that really need something? And he says, I have just a place. So we went to a local market, and that's what we try to do now, is instead of bringing stuff with us, we'll buy the products locally, because it helps the community there, then we can take that stuff and we can redistribute it. Now when you go to places like Cuba, you can't buy this stuff. So we bring it with us. But in Cambodia, we went to this fishing village, and it was almost like Apocalypse Now. These houses up on wooden stilts that are just, they're 30 feet off the ground, and the reason they are is because during the rainy season, that's how high the water goes on this lake. We went to the local market, we bought all this stuff, and we showed up, and we said, our guide said that we want to give some stuff, and there was a lineup of kids, like big lineup, and Jane was at the front handing stuff out, and I was taking pictures, and the looks on their faces and how well behaved they were, I was just crying the whole time, because you feel good to be able to do something like that. Plus, we get to go to these great countries and experience it firsthand. So,
yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
it's a great way to do it. I couldn't think of a better way to do it, dude.
Yeah. You need to come with us on one of our adventures.
Yeah, I do.
You need to come to Peru to do Machu Picchu. That's life-changing.
That's one of the places I've really wanted to go to for a long time. And then plus the fact that a lot of people mistake our last name for Cusco.
Well, and that's where we stay. We stay in Cusco, just before we go to Ollantaytambo, which is the setup where you catch a train to go to the drop-off to begin your trek. But Peru, to me, is one of the most magical places.
I would love to check it. I've never been to the continent of South America at all, so it'd be a great first place to go to.
We'll let you know when.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Well, to bring it back to ball python stuff and snakes for a minute, if you had, what advice would you give to somebody that's just looking to get into it now, and having that you've met that kind of opposition at the beginning, where people are like, it's too late, like you're too late. Like, what would you say to people now?
Well, the opportunities presented to new people is 100 times greater than what it was when I got into it, and people like Ozzy Boys or Justin Kabelka. Ozzy and I got into it at the exact same time. And like I said, there weren't that many genes to choose from. So, my advice is always grow into business, don't go into business. Because I see far too many people just get too much in a hurry and they want this now and they want that now and whatever. And the essence of this hobby, in order to be successful, is patience. If you're not patient, you will not succeed in this hobby. And it's like I'm kind of known by some people as being the anti-egg cutter. And I'm not anti-egg cutting, I'm just anti-egg cutting at 42 days when they naturally pip at 54. And to me, somebody mutilating an egg in order to see what they're getting at such an early stage shows me a huge red flag of lack of patience. I want people to be patient and know that, if they buy good, strong hatchlings, that's probably more of a shortcut than buying adult proven breeders because I want to get eggs now, whatever. And, I sell proven breeders, I sell hatchlings, I sell everything. But I really think people need to slow down and breathe and take it in and learn. The other thing you have to do is be prepared. If, they're not difficult to breed. So all of a sudden you go out there and you buy, 20 adult breeder females or 40 or whatever, like some people are, and they breed, and all of a sudden they got all these babies, and they're going, okay, now we got to feed these. Where am I going to get the feed from? So in my business, I started off, small. Had, I think the first year that I bred, I had 12 clutches, which at the time was quite a few, for a new breeder. But I also was prepared in the fact that I started breeding my own rats, and I had the supply of feed that I could feed them. To this day, I can walk out into my rat room and pick the specific sizes I need for my specific snakes. So I'm not saying, okay, I have 500 hatchlings to feed, so give me 500 fuzzies. Well, some of them need pups, and some of them need. So I put an assortment in, and I look at the snake, I look at the prey, and that's what it gets. And that's why you get the chunky babies and the chunky hatchlings that look so good.
And you guys' rodent supply up here isn't quite as readily available as we have down in the States as well.
No, it's not nearly as available as it is in the United States.
Yeah, I just learned that last year. That it was,
yeah. So and the other thing is, when you do everything, so you breed the snakes, you breed the rats, right? So the quality of the feed that you're giving to the snakes is that magic triangle. I know what my snakes are getting. Very often I hear from people, they go, well, I'm buying from this supplier, and my snakes won't eat their rats. And then they'll come and they'll say, can I borrow some rats from you? And they, yeah, try this. And they go home and boom, they eat. It's like you and I eating food. We want to eat good food, quality food. And so I want to know what my snakes are eating. So that's why I have the control of that.
That's good. Hillary, we need to start breeding rats.
Yeah, and look, that's a whole other, it's a big job.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt about it.
It's a big job. But you asked the question about people getting into it. If you had 20 really good quality females and 5 great males, you could kick ass. You really could, because all those people that post these amazing snakes, okay, for every great one they post, there's 50 that are not the great ones. Okay? But if you increase the quality of your females and increase the quality of your males and keep it as a small size, you can be posting stuff every day that's going to garner attention. And let's face it, it's all about marketing, right?
That's kind of where I'm at. I've got about 20 females.
And that's perfect. Honestly, I'd like to downsize to about half of what I have, just because I can have one female that will do what 3 lesser females could do, so to become that efficient is what I want to do, because I never plan on retiring.
Well, when you love what you do, you don't need to worry about retiring.
I think. And there's a lot to be said for, the brain's a very important muscle, and if you're not exercising that brain, you're going to die.
True.
You age. A lot of people say, wow, when they see people that have retired and they never go up and says, boy, you look good and well and rested. It's when you lose that purpose, you need that. You need that drive.
And on top of that, if you're looking forward to retiring, chances are you weren't liking what you were doing anyway, and that's draining on you in the meantime anyway. You're draining yourself in both directions, overworking yourself at something you don't want to be doing and then leaving it with nothing.
And I do overwork myself, and my wife will attest to that.
I think it's possible to not overwork yourself when you're working with animals.
Yeah, but we love spending time together and doing our own thing. And I'm sorry you couldn't come up to our place, because we've created in our backyard this little magical oasis, and it's all very tropical for Canada. People come there and they're like, seriously? It's we've got big flame torches for at night, and it's magical. So we have that as our little oasis to go to. But when we're not doing that, I'm like, maybe I should go check the incubator. Maybe I should go see if that male is locked with that female. Maybe I should, go. And but God, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hey, well, if you love what you do, there's many people on this world that haven't figured out the ability to love what they do and be able to support themselves while doing it.
Yeah.
So if you get that down, there's not really, you're winning.
Yeah.
At life.
No, I agree. So yeah, it's I've got nothing to complain about. Thank
Love
you
it.
so much,
Yeah,
Brian.
man. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. And I gotta say, you do. You're a 1 in a million individual. You really are.
Thanks,
you
man.
know, and,
That's a hell of a compliment.
I see the glow coming from your heart. It's rare, and it's about embracing that and appreciating. And we had a conversation last night. We went out for dinner. I said the best thing you can do to be happy is to appreciate. It's that simple. Wake up, appreciate what you're doing, appreciate what you have, and it's amazing what'll happen in your life. So thank you for everything.
Thank you, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'd like to take a second to thank Mark again for sitting down with me. That was really a great interview. I felt like we had a nice conversation there, and I can only hope that every interview would go with somebody complimenting me. No, I'm just kidding. But that was a lot of fun, honestly, and I look forward to making good on some of those promises for world travels around the world with you, man. Next week we've got the Herpeton Talks with Taylor Rausch talking about bioactive substrates. And until then, you've been watching Triple B TV. Y'all take care. Next week we've got, who do we have next week?
Chop, 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 chop.
Hello, ladies and gents, boys and girls.
I think it's good. You can just do a little test stuff. I don't know. I mean,
That angle there, is that the background okay for that?
yeah, I think so. I mean, it could be worse.
Shh.
I mean, if we wanted to get crazy, we could always put like all kinds of stuff back there. But the great thing about this is it has super shallow depth of focus, so
Yeah.
it's all gonna be blurred out for the most part anyway. If we could change them to freedom breeder racks real quick, then that might make it better for.
Lava, lava, lava. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Too loud. Howdy, folks. Brian Cusco here. Is it too loud? No. Perfect. Howdy, folks. Oh, it's too loud.
That works.
That works wonderfully. I'll cover up these snake boxes too.
Yeah.
We were at the Canadian.
Dude, I love it.
Great.
I love it.
Super.
That was fantastic, man.